the time between Christmas and New Year's is always a time of reflection for me. And I done a podcast recently, and I spoke about following your gut, following your intuition, and I think just tapping into, tuning into the emotions that you deal with from a day-to-day level, and I suppose noticing the subtle cues that you'll see in the people around you and the people closest to you, or maybe in your work, all of these things, and in turn then creating a better place to live in, a more enjoyable place. And we cut out all the bullshit. And when I was doing a bit of reflection on it, I was saying, I'm after saying that in a podcast, I had massive highs this year, achieved a lot of goals, but I've also had a good few lows and a couple of struggles, and just things that upset me this year, same as everyone else. And I mightn't speak about it all the time, but becoming more vulnerable was a thing that I said I'd do this year, and I have to stick by that. But following my gut, I'm preaching on a podcast, and I was thinking, how many times did I follow that this year? And for the most part I have, but there's been a couple of times where you're in a difficult situation and you did not follow your gut. So who am I to do that? Who am I to be preaching if I don't live and die with it? So there was a couple of times this year where I poured energy into someone or something, and again, when I say energy, that can be anything. It's not always a physical, maybe a gift or something like that. It's not always like just doing favors for someone, whatever it is. It's just giving energy towards that person, giving them your focus, your time, whatever it is, right? And in the littlest of ways, right, you have to get energy back from that. So maybe that's like the smile on their face, maybe that's a thank you, maybe that's just making them happy, whatever it is, right? It's obviously individual, but if it's not reciprocating back, if you're not getting energy back from these things, and you notice all the subtle little signs that maybe they're not the nicest of people, maybe they're a snake, maybe they're like whatever it is, it could be something, it could be a job, whatever it is, I will relate it back to your life. If you ignore it, it's going to be so hard when something happens down the line to accept it. So this is the next bit. You need to be able to accept where you're at, accept that what the subtle signs that your gut is screaming at you, saying this person is not the nicest people, they're not. And I suppose as a society as well, we want people to always be on the wavelength that we want them to be on. We perceive people as, geez, they would never do that to me, or they would never do that to the next person. And sometimes your God is just telling you the truth, but you don't want to hear it because you don't want to I suppose, see that perception of the world. So again, when something happens down the line, then we're like, why did this happen to me? And we fall into that victim mentality, going, why did this happen to me again? Or why do people always leave me? Or all of these different things that goes on. So the couple of times that I didn't follow my gut and I pushed that confrontation down the line, it is hard and it's a bitter pill to swallow then, because you're like, I'm going to struggle with accepting this now. But again, me taking the learnings from it, even stripping it out like this, is a big step on that. So even you start to accept where you're at and you move on, even though it might be something that you like. So in January, I'm going to be changing, I suppose, as much as we possibly can, the mentality of the people where we notice what's going on in our own life day to day. We're doing a free Facebook group. So I'm running a free Facebook group. It's called Cormac Buckley's January Reset. Completely free. We're going to be doing some education. We're going to be doing loads of nutrition stuff, loads of little training tips, little affirmations, all of these different things to uplift people on a simple level. Not anything extreme like the New Year's resolution bullshit that everyone goes on with. We'll be doing this that people will be able to stick to it come February, and we're going to do it completely free, no charge. I just want energy back from the group that we have. So I think we've almost 50 now in the group already, so we'll drive it on and we'll keep it going. And look, I'm going to be living and dying by this follow my gut stuff. I'm not going to kick anything down the line anymore. There was only a handful of times, but maybe you can relate to it. That's why I'm putting it out there. And in 2026 and tell you now there's no more of this, because if you can uplift the people around us, then they'll uplift the people around them, maybe when they go into work or when they meet their family, and we'll be in a better place next Christmas when we meet all the people in our local towns. Around Christmas as well, everyone goes out. We meet a lot of people that we haven't met maybe in a long time, and for me anyway, it was the perception is like, Jesus, your man is flying, you're doing really well, you went to Spain, blah blah blah, fair play to you. And whether they say it to your face or whether they speak at you or to someone else or whatever when they see you, and then on the other extreme it's like, Jesus, look at your man, he's a bollocks, who does he think he is, blah blah blah. But none of these people actually really know you. So unless you're in a mental space where you have your shit nailed and you are not worrying about all of these people, because you follow your gut and you know in your heart and soul that, geez, I'm a good person, or like, I suppose you're not worrying about what people are thinking around you, because you're in a mental space where you're really tough. And I suppose it's a lot easier to accept things that are said, and sometimes you don't always have to speak back to these comments and all of this. So I think come next year, if you can come back and people have that different mentality, maybe I'm in fairyland, lads, maybe I can't do it to the scale that I want to do it at, but if we can help a couple of people, they're going to help the next couple of people. But it's worth trying anyway, because when people come back to their local towns at Christmas, they shouldn't be dreading the conversations that they're going to be having. They shouldn't be waiting on these silly conversations and then worrying about them maybe a couple of days later, which a lot of people do. And even the people that go out in the beer, they had the fear the next day then. So for a better mentality, then maybe these things will be happening a little bit less.